Somebody says A. I haven't shown you a paper yet. How do you know it's A? And you know the funny thing is, Emil, you're actually correct. You're right. You haven't seen the paper yet. All right. We're starting June 2000 is where we begin. Spelling. Way back in the day when spelling was a thing. I mean, spelling thing still occurs now and then. So we're just looking for the misspelled word. If there is no misspelled word, then we choose D, no error. 13. So you have to be very careful with these questions. Be very careful. Practice for beginners in this course will commence at precisely 10 o'clock. What do you have for 13? Do you see any spelling errors? 13A. Practice the British way can be spelled with an S, but only as a verb. Here, practice is a noun, so it should definitely be CE, not SE. CE. All right, good eye, good eye, good eye. Let's go to 14. When you are compiling the estimates for recurrent expenditure, do you include breakages? All right, 14. Recurrent has too many C's. Oh, someone says, I need a trim. What are you talking about, man? I used to be a Rasta. This is nothing. 15. The deafening noise blared from John's cassette recorder and seemed incessant. Incessant needs one more S. Yeah. 16. The corporal investigated the report of burglary. All right, 16. Someone says C, burglar is quite fine. Corporal. This is corporal. What is corporal? Corporal. Missing an R for corporal. Earlier, some of the questions might be repeated, but there's no guarantee. So it's better to just get a feel for the type of question to expect. But don't really expect the same questions to come back. I mean, CSEC likes repeating questions, but this year might be the year they decide to give you a fresh paper. Yeah. All right. 17. The zealous spectator experienced great disappointment when his favorite team lost. All right. Zealous is spelled incorrectly. Yeah. Zealous comes from zeal. So we need that A. Zealous. Yeah. 18. After the incident, the boys traveled a different route back to school. Different. Different should be spelled differently. Different. Yeah, that's how it should look. All right, that's that for spelling. And oh boy, I hate these questions. I hate these questions, believe me. Oh yeah. I take a deep breath whenever I reach these questions. Error recognition. We've seen this type of error recognition on almost every past paper, if not every past paper. This one is from way back in 2001. So there are three different kinds of errors that we're looking out for. A, the sentence is too wordy, that is repetitive, or contains redundancies. Right? Like reversed back, repeat again, just too many words saying the same thing. B, the sentence contains cliches or misused metaphors. Cliches, it's difficult to know for sure what CSEC considers a cliche. Sorry about that. But basically it's just an overused idiom or phrase, one that is stale. And misused metaphor, this one is easier to identify. And C, sentences has incorrect grammar or diction, incorrect grammar or vocabulary. That's self-explanatory. Let's go to 9. I'll have to keep all of this on screen so you can reference the instructions. All right, number 9. If I were the captain of the Australian cricket team, I will attack the batsmen with my fast bowlers immediately after the luncheon interval. What's your answer? I see A and I see many C's. The answer is C for number 9. If I were the captain, I would attack. Will, should be, would. If I were the captain of the cricket team, I would attack. All right, let's jump down to 10. Because of the many fruit trees which distinguished the yard, the little boys enjoyed playing in the yard of the uninhabited house where no one had lived for many years. Number 10, let's go. All right, 10 is A. Definitely got a number of redundancies in this one. First of all, we do not need to repeat yard here, that is unnecessary. And then we have the uninhabited house where no one had lived for many years. Uninhabited house already means no one had lived there. So there's no need to have both of those phrases in the same sentence. So redundant. A. Clear? Clear? 11. Seldom do people declare that they are not products of their environment. 11. There is no error here. This is a perfectly acceptable sentence. Seldom, in other words, rarely, do people declare that they're not products of their environment. In other words, people usually declare that they are products of their environments. No problem. All right, 12. Sitting alone in his room by himself, he repeated her name over and over again. Okay, 12 has to be A. Sitting alone by himself, that's redundant. And repeating the name over and over again. Strictly, it's not necessarily redundant because we can repeat something many times, but you know, it still has just too many words for its purpose. So it could, if you want to consider that redundancy, but this is a very clear redundancy right here. That's all we need. Okay, 13. This one is tricky, I think. The platter was circular in shape and in color it resembled a harvest moon. Here we go with the D's. I know when the wrong answers are about to come in. I know. I always know. All right, so this one is redundant. There are a few reasons why. The first reason is circular in shape. There is never a need to say circular in shape. It's like saying uh, this bottle is purple in color. Like, duh, it's purple. It can only be purple in color. It can't be purple in height or purple in size. Just the same way, circular is enough. No need to say circular in shape. So it's already redundant there. The platter was circular in shape, which is already redundant. And in color, it resembled a harvest moon. No, the problem is a harvest moon um, a harvest moon is circular. Therefore, it resembles a harvest moon both in color and in shape. So the sentence is wasting words. Are you understanding how the sentence is being redundant? The platter was circular in shape, and in color, it resembled a harvest moon. The platter had the shape and color of a harvest moon. That would have been less redundant. That one was a bit tricky. Usage. All right, 6 to 10. This is from 2003. Some of the following sentences are unacceptable because of inappropriate grammar, idiom, or vocabulary. Some sentences are acceptable as they stand. No sentence contains more than one inappropriate element. All right, so let's find where the error is. Number 6. And this question has repeated on some recent papers. She was not feeling well at the beginning of the journey, and sitting at the front of the car made her feel worse. All right, so there are 2 points at which CSEC tries to trick you with this question. They try to trick you with A. Should A be good or well? Actually, A should be well. They try to trick you with C. Should C be worse or worst? Actually, C should be worse. So there's no error. No error. She was not feeling well. That's good. Sitting at the front of the car. That's good. Made her feel worse. It couldn't be worst because worst would indicate the superlative. It would be the same as saying sitting at the front of the car made her feel best. Would make sense. It could make her feel better, right? Better, worse, best, worst. So if you get confused between worse and worst, replace worse with better, replace worst with best, and see if the sentence flows. Anyway, this has no error. Number 7. Mary, will you please fill up the buckets before the water supply is cut off? Easy one. Full up should be fill up. 8. Any disease of the bones and joints which are due to deficiencies in a single nutritional factor can be prevented. Renata knows what's up. Any disease of the bones and joints. What is the subject of the sentence? Any disease. Is it singular or plural? It is singular. Any disease which is due to deficiencies. They try to trick you because they have these plurals here, but the actual subject is any disease. You can basically ignore this. Any disease is due. Any disease is. All right, be careful about the subject verb agreement. Whenever I say the is our business, be careful, ensure that you're properly identifying what the subject of the sentence is. All right, any disease, singular subject. Doesn't matter what comes afterwards, it's still a singular subject. All right, number 9. No one in the island seemed to know where the prime minister could be located at, even though there was a nationwide search to find him, a nationwide search for him. All right, number 9B. At is not necessary. We should almost never end a clause or a sentence with a preposition. No one on the island seemed to know where the prime minister could be located. That's it. No at. All right, 10. That one was tricky. No sooner had he entered Kathleen's living room and begun preparations for the feast when there was a sharp rap at the door. 10B? Why B? What's wrong with B? I'm still not seeing one person giving me the answer. Number 10. Radisha, why C? Someone who says C, please tell me why C? When should be where? Really? What's wrong with begun? What's wrong with begun? Begun is the past participle. That's perfectly fine. Past perfect. Had he begun? Nothing is wrong with that. C sounds funny. I want to see an answer with an explanation. It's one of the trickier ones. I want to see if anybody can figure it out. And nothing at all is wrong with begun. C should be which? My goodness, what are you talking about? I'm seeing one person with the right answer. C should be than. You see, this is that tricky one, This one requires you to just read a lot. So you see these types of strange sentence structures. No sooner had he entered Kathleen's living room and begun preparations for the feast than there was a knock. Than. Not when or where. Than. No sooner than. And I know you're confused. So what it means is, as soon as he entered the room, there was a knock on the door. No sooner had he done that than something else happened. What it means is, it's showing the proximity between the two events. It's showing how close together the two things happened. Yeah, and I know it sounds weird. It's not gonna sound right unless you know the sentence structure, unless you've seen it before. That's just how it is. It's not gonna sound right unless you just simply know this sentence structure. I'm trying to bring up something that might be able to show a few examples for you guys. Give me a moment. It's a very interesting sentence structure, one that I haven't seen CSEC uh, test on in a long time. I like to be thorough and present evidence when necessary. All right, look at this. The expression "no sooner blah 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 than" is used to suggest that one action or situation takes place immediately after another action or situation. When no sooner goes at the beginning of a sentence, we use an inverted word order, and this is what we see here. This means the auxiliary verb goes before the subject. We won't get into all of that. I just want I just want to say a few more examples. The train arrived at the station. Soon the passengers rushed towards it. We could change the sentence and fit it into the CSEC sentence format that we just looked at by saying, no sooner had the train arrived at the station than the passengers rushed towards it. If you have never seen this type of sentence before, this is going to sound strange. But if you have seen it before, then you know that this is just how some people speak. It's just how some people write, and it's perfectly grammatical. No problems. Here's another example. No sooner did the teacher enter the classroom than the students stood up. It means as soon as the teacher entered the classroom, the students stood up. Yeah? Guys, I'm not going to say it's an easy question. It's a hard question. But it is what it is. Not every question is going to be easy. All right, let me get back to it. I haven't seen that sentence structure on any recent questions, but you might as well be prepared for anything. So let's see. And we have more spelling courtesy of 2003. All right, as fast as I can, give me an answer for number 16. 16, the nurses were allotted. Allotted is wrong. What's going on? Why is allotted wrong? I'm seeing A and B for number 16. A? Allotted looks fine to me. All right. Separate. Separate. Yeah. Very, 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 very common misspelling. Very common misspelling. 17. The foreign ship was impounded for polluting our territorial waters. 17. C. Territorial needs one more R. 18. Even though the boy demonstrated his innocence, disciplinary action was taken against him. All right, 18. C. Disciplinary. This should be an A for disciplinary. 18. The doctor recommended that the patient spend a period of convalescence in the country in order to recuperate fully. Any problems? Sir, what is that word for B? Convalescence. Convalescence. The time it takes to recover from a sickness or something like that. Like the time it takes to heal. Period of convalescence, healing time. D or B, there's no error here. No problem. I checked these words thoroughly. I couldn't find any misspellings. All of these words look good to me. 20. While the secretary was advising the young woman, her discourteous nephew mischievously made faces at her. Yeah? 20. C. I-E, not E-I. And a common misconception with this word, this is not um this is not mischievously, really. It's really mischievously. Mischievous. There's no I here. But because so many adjectives end in IOUSLY, we tend to put that I. And the E before I is wrong here. All right, that's that for that. Uh, this is now 2004. Some of the following sentences are unacceptable because of inappropriate grammar, idiom, or vocabulary. Some sentences are acceptable as stand. No sentence contains more than one inappropriate element. So we're just finding the errors here. Let's go to number 6. You divided the streets between you and me. You only have two parties, so it's between. Among is for three or more. 7. We've seen a question quite similar to this before. Any disease of the bones and joints, which in fact we've seen this same question, right? What's number 7? Pay attention to what the verb and what to what the noun is and what the verb is, what the subject is and what the verb is. Any disease is number 8. In a house for Mr. Biswas, Nepal shows that how a man may struggle against great odds to achieve those things that he most desires. Number 8. A. How is unnecessary. No, in fact, that is unnecessary. He shows how a man may struggle, blah, blah, blah. In fact, you can have one or the other, but not both. Yeah. All right, number 9. The duties given the newly recruited officer were planning, coordinating, and organizing the activities of the large staff. What's wrong with being newly recruited? What's wrong with the newly recruited? Wow, nobody's getting number 9 right. The duties given to, the duties given to the newly recruited officer. All right, number 10. You may notice that the windows of the next, you may notice that the windows of the house next door, the man pointed out, looks like those of ancient English cottages. 10b. Pay attention to subject and verb. The windows should be look. Windows look, not windows looks. You can't say the windows looks like. They try to trick you because house is singular, but the subject isn't the house. The subject is the windows of the house. Windows look. Subject verb agreement. More questions from O4. A for redundancy, B for cliche or misused metaphor, C for incorrect grammar or diction, D for no error. Let's go. 16. Oh, we've seen 16 before. Will should be would. So let's start at 17. To attract more business, the store offered free gifts at no expense to the customer. We're at 17. Someone says D. How is it D? A. The store offered free gifts at no expense. Redundancy. Free gifts means it's at no expense, so no need to say that. 18. The new disciplinary methods have affected a vast improvement on the behavior of students. All right, 18 is C. Affected should be effected. Effected a vast improvement. In this case, effect is being used as a verb. Can effect something, effect change, effect improvement. 19. She was a nimble-footed dancer. Her graceful body executed delicate movements with incredible poise. Someone said A. I don't see any problems here. Seems like a good sentence to me. Repetitive, I think it's more descriptive than repetitive. There's a thin line, I suppose, between description and repetition. She was a nimble footed dancer. Here we have a semicolon, which means what is coming next is going to elaborate on what has come before, right? It's going to be an extension of the description. So the rest is going on to explain the nimble footedness of the dancer. So I think this is fine. That would be similar to me saying he is a strong man. He managed to lift 500 pounds as well as lift up two cars. I'm not really being redundant by explaining what I mean by he's a strong man. So they're elaborating or explaining in what way she's nimble footed. I think it's fine. I think it's fine, honestly. If this were really the repetition would have been the redundancy would have been more obvious or more blatant as it is here. The politician hammered the nail of his argument into the leafy minds of his audience who had come to hear him speak on the difficult subject of monetary policy. All right, 20b, misused metaphor. Leafy minds. I don't even know what the sentence is trying to mean, but whatever it's trying to mean, it's not correct. It's not reaching. Yeah, that's very strange. Let's jump down to these from 2005. And we're basically just looking for errors as usual. Number 6. Overcome by fear, I ran past my home without realizing that I had done so. What's your answer for number 6? A. I ran past my home. Yeah. Past here is an adverb, which it should be. Adverb, which is talking about how or where you ran. You ran past your home. But the PASSED here, this is a verb. This is just the past tense of past, to pass something. So that's wrong. 7. Of the two books, Good Habits, in spite of its size, provides a deeper study of humans in their environment. What is going on with these letters A and B? What? For those saying A, why would you want an apostrophe here? The it's here without the apostrophe signifies ownership. No need for any apostrophes here. This it's is perfectly fine. No problem there. Why you're just guessing no? Why would it be B? What is the subject? The subject is not the two books. Let me get my face on the screen. You guys need my face. The subject is not the two books. No, that's not the subject. Of the two books, Good Habits. This is one book. Good Habits, in spite of its size, provides. Good Habits provides. That's good. Yeah, there's no apostrophe for it's. No apostrophe is needed. This is perfectly fine. It's with the apostrophe equals it is. For example, it's sunny today. It is sunny today. So we can say in spite of it is size. So no need for the apostrophe at all. Of the two books, this one here, this one book provides singular subject, singular verb. Yeah? It's the same as saying, of all the people in the world, this boy is the most handsome. What's the subject? Not all the people. This boy, this one singular boy. Of the two books, this one book named Good Habits provides a deeper blah blah blah. Therefore, no error. People, you're sleeping, man. Why are you sleeping? The subject is this sentence is talking about this one book here. The sentence is about this singular book called Good Habits. They they have the book title end with an S to further trick you. That's what CSEC likes to do. All right, number 8. There's hardly a point or knocking as no one is not at home. Come on, number 8 is a giveaway. No one is C double negative. The not is not necessary. No one is at home. Ooh, what do we have here? Who's this little guy? Let's give him a good burial. What is that bee doing here? This bee is trapped in time. All right, let's get rid of that bee. No, we can get a grade 1. Now that bee is gone. All right, no one in the island seemed to know where the prime minister could be located. We've seen this before, so we'll skip it. Number 10. We've seen this disgusting question before as well. No sooner had he entered Catherine's room and begun preparations for the feast than May 2005, spelling test again. Spelling. 16. While the secretary was advising the young woman, her discourteous nephew mischievously made faces at her. Yeah, we've seen this mischievously, I-E, not E-I. 17. The stationery was recommended to the student by the librarian. The B gave us the answer B. Funny and punny. All right, any problems here? Recommended is good, librarian is good, and this stationery is okay. CSEC is trying to trick you with stationery. They're tricking you. This stationery is perfectly fine. Stationery with an E means things like paper, pencil, marker, books. Stationary with an A means not moving, like a stationary vehicle. All right, so keep that in mind. E is for envelope. Remember that. E is for envelope. Envelopes and paper stuff. All right, 19. The doctor recommended. Okay, we've seen this before. This is the same question with no error. So let's not waste time on it. 20. The announcement concerning the intensifying of restrictive measures was not greeted with enthusiasm. Okay, no errors here. Announcement is good, greeted is good, enthusiasm is good. Whenever there is a food crisis, the people always experience shortages of basic necessities. 18a. Crises here, this is plural. What we need is crisis, singular. All right, done. All right, number 6 here. Do you see any misspelling? A, that's right. Conscientious is wrongly spelled. I believe this S should be a T. Let me double check. I think that S should be a T. That looks wrong. Conscientious. Yeah, that S should be a T. All right, 7. Okay, we just saw this one, right? Crisis. We also saw this question, recurrent. Okay, number 9. This is a new one. The arguments put forward by the irate parent merely help to further aggravate the situation. Yeah, aggravate, AGG. The principal sent the boy to purchase some stationery. CSEC has a good sense of humor. All right. A for repetitive, B for cliche or bad metaphor, C for grammar, D for perfect. From here on out, anyone we've seen before, I'll just be skipping over it because I have just a few minutes of juice left. We already explained that 16 is repetitive. Okay, what about 17? We haven't seen 17 before. The regulations concerning the importation of foreign goods are iron bound with red tape. Iron bound is not properly used here. Iron bound means strong and unyielding. So it's not a good fit for this sentence. Yeah, not a good fit. That metaphor. Because the iron bound isn't literal, it's a metaphor and it's misused. Sitting alone in his room by himself. Bam. B. Like an earthquake. Doesn't make sense. Technically, it's a misused simile, but we'll cut CSEC some slack. Number 20. None of the cashier know the combination of the vault. None of the cashiers. So bad grammar. None of the cashiers. So now we're moving forward. So item 16 to 20. Directions. Some of the following sentences are unacceptable because of inappropriate grammar, idiom, or vocabulary. Some sentences are acceptable as they stand. No sentence contains more than one inappropriate element. And we're just going to be finding and highlighting what we think the error is. If there's no error, we highlight D for no error. So let's look at number 16. Considering the chaos you would cause if you were to resign. Now, I have no alternative than to refuse your request. Another question we've seen repeated on a recent question. Another question we've seen repeated on a recent paper. So guys, let me see an answer for 16. I see one A and a couple of C's. What could be wrong with A here? Considering the chaos you would cause, that's fine. If you were to resign now, I would have no alternative but to refuse your request. Someone says V. There's no V here, sweet potato. A, B, C, D, only 4 options. No V. No V. All right, so that's going to be C. Jumping up to 17. There's hardly a point to our knocking as no one is not at home. We would have solved this one. There's hardly a point to our knocking as no one is. The not here gives us a double negative, which we do not need. So that's an error. 18. This is an interesting question. He hanged the picture in the living room in such a way as to conceal its broken frame. I can bet half of you guys are going to get this one wrong. 18. Is there a mistake? If there's a mistake, where is it? You see, I knew it. I knew some of you guys would select that particular letter, which is not correct. He hung the picture. One person in the chat mentioned that he hung the picture. What is the difference between hanged and hung? The difference is this picture is not a criminal and it's not on a death sentence, so it would not have been hanged, right? Hung. So we have hang and hang. They look and sound the same in present tense, but in past tense we have it's revealed that we have 2 different words here, right? Hang becomes hanged when a person is put to death via a rope, a length of rope. Hang becomes hung when clothing or a picture or a frame or something like that is mounted on a wall. All right, so keep that difference in mind. Let's jump across to 19. His teacher had come to believe over the years that he was exceptional bright for his age. Exceptional should be exceptionally. We need ly. Exceptionally bright. All right, let's go to 20. His having shares in the company aroused the suspicion of the committee, which now considers him to be guilty of fraud. Oh man, I'm gonna have to do an English lesson again because people are here choosing A for some strange reason. I knew this was gonna happen. I knew you guys were gonna get tricked. So many A's, so many wrong answers. For the people choosing A, what would you like me to change his to? What would you like me to change his to? For all of these people selecting A. Even Renata, what should his be? Look at us. Some people are gonna start saying him. He should be him. Him would be wrong. You remember that sentence, that weird sentence we looked at last time? This is another weird construction. You have to read a lot to come up on these kinds of sentences. Someone said he, Daphne, that is even worse than him. He's having shares. That is perfectly fine. He's having shares in the company. That's perfectly fine. We see this kind of sentence structure all the time. Google it. No time for in-depth lessons right now. Bam. We're running to May 2008. Misspellings. We're looking for misspellings. 16. When the museum purchased his paintings, the artist received many compliments. I know this isn't a wonderful scan, but I'm zooming up as much as possible. Everyone is saying C. Good job. This compliments is the wrong compliments. We need an I here. The complement with the E means that something goes well with something else. So the black hat complements the white dress because they're a good match, right? If the black hat were to complement the white dress with an I, then the hat would be alive, which it is not. All right. So I for a nice statement towards somebody, a nice observation, and E when two things match. All right, received is actually correctly spelled here, even though it might look strange. This is how received is spelled because English. All right, number 7. The secretary made up a calendar of events, but there was not enough stationery to give each member a copy. All right, calendar has too many L's here. Secretary is fine. This stationery is fine because, as we said yesterday, E is for. Someone said E is for eraser. I said E is for envelope. E is used when we're referring to materials for writing and reading and stuff like that, where A is used when something is motionless. So this stationery is correct. This calendar is wrong. Number 8, when you're compiling the estimates for recurrent expenditure, do you include breakages? I think this is a repeat question. Number 8, yep, recurrent is spelled incorrectly. Recurrent has one C. All right, number 9. The arguments put forward by the irate parent merely help to further aggravate the situation. Okay, this one is clearly a repeat question, so let's just move on. Aggravate is AGG. Number 10. The opinion that men are superior to women is a fallacy which men themselves perpetuated for centuries. Superior fallacy perpetuated. Are we seeing any misspellings? Maya, first to answer, says D very bravely. Joshua Winsome, D, not D. No error here. Superior is fine. Fallacy is fine. Fallacy is an interesting word. Keep it in mind. It means a mistaken or a flawed way of thinking, right? Basically, it's a thought process that has a certain error in it that might be difficult to spot. All right, that's that. Here we're back to the regular error recognition questions, and this paper is May 2008. 6 is a repeat question, so I'm jumping across. He divided the sweets between you and me. Only two parties, so we don't need among, we need between. Yeah, repeat question, so I'm not spending any time on it. 7, another repeat question, so I'm not spending any time on it. Any disease, singular disease, is, right? Any disease of the bones and joints. This is just detail. Destruction. Disease is. Number 8, another repeat question, so we're jumping right across. In a house for Mr. Biswas, Naipaul shows we don't need that. So that's A. Yeah, I'm really skipping over these repeat questions, guys. I'm not even joking. 9, the duties given to. We've seen this before. The duties given to the newly recruited officer were blah, blah, blah. All right. 10, you may notice that the windows of the house next door, the man pointed out, look. Windows, plural subject, look, plural verb. CSEC is trying to trick you with the word house. House is singular, so they want you to believe that house is the subject, but house is not the subject of the sentence. This man is talking about not the house, but the windows of the house. All right, so whenever you see these kind of is are situations, always pay attention and ensure that you figure out what the sentence is talking about. All right, bam. Let's move along on to January 2010, and we're going to choose A if the sentence is too wordy or redundant. Let me take my picture off. A if the sentence is too wordy or redundant or repetitive. B if we see cliches or misused metaphors. C for error in grammar or diction. D if there's no error. And I'm going to be skipping across the repeated ones. It seems everything here is repeated, actually. So I'm just going to fly over this. I'm still going to highlight the answers for those who would prefer to see that. If I were the captain of the Australian cricket team, I would attack. So that's bad grammar. So that's C. Yeah. To attract more business, the store offered free gifts. If something is free, then it's got to be a gift, and so there's no expense. Double repetition. 18, the new disciplinary methods have affected a vast improvement. This would have to be effected. So that's going to be C for diction. 19, man, Althea is quick. Althea is running through the questions as fast, as quickly as I am. She was a nimble-footed dancer. Her graceful body executed delicate movements with incredible poise. This is a wonderful sentence with no problems. 20, the politician hammered the nail of his argument into the leafy mines. I don't know what he's talking about. This would have to be a misused metaphor, making this answer B. This is January 2010. But these questions appear on a number of past papers. All right, let's run along. By the way, if at any point you need to just snap a screenshot or something, just do that because we're moving with great speed and efficacy. All right, we're looking for the error here: inappropriate grammar, spelling, idiom, or vocabulary. 16. My goodness, another repeat question. He divided the sweets between. How many times am I going to write between? 17. One of the admirable characteristics of the young, have we seen this question before? Is that they are not easily scared. Give me an answer for 17. I don't remember seeing this question before. D, 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 D. May I win some Althea? Sorry, I've been saying Althea. Althea. Everyone's saying D. Oh my gosh, there's one B dingling. Oh, I was looking out for that B. I was looking for that B. All right, let's talk about subject and verb again. One, what is the subject connected to the is? What is this is connected to? Yes, one of the admirable characteristics. Not all of the characteristics, one of them. So, one of them is. That is fine. No problem. This is a singular subject. Only one of the characteristics. One of the characteristics of the young is. Now, what about the they here? What is the they connected to? Yeah, the young. And the young here is actually plural. The young here is used in a plural sense. So one is, they are, that's fine. And nothing is wrong with the word characteristics, so there's no error. All right, answer D. All right, let's jump along to 18. We've seen this question before. We've seen this question many times. Shows no need for that. Answer A. Right, jumping up to 19. When you're compiling, okay, this one is the misspelling that we've seen many times before. Recurrent. Yeah, are you guys keeping up? I'm running through the repeat questions. Okay, here's a new one. It is my privilege to give you some advice concerning proper nutrition. Ah, there we go. Ate, advice with a C. That's what we need. S is the verb. C is the noun. Yeah. That's the verb. Advice is the noun. Same with practice. Practice with the S is the verb. Practice with the C is the noun. All right. Let's jump along. We're looking for inappropriate grammar, idiom, or vocabulary. And as usual, we start with a question that we're tired of seeing. We're tired of seeing this question. He divided the sweets between Sasha and me. Only two people. 1, 2. So it has to be between. Okay, 12. I think this is a new one. Number 12. Peter now have influenza, and so is unable to participate in the inter-school games. We're at 12. All right, this is a very easy one. Peter is singular. Singular nouns require singular verbs, even if they're auxiliary verbs, such as has. All right, so wherever you would use is, that's where you would use has. Wherever you would use are, that's where you would use have. Peter now has. All right. 13. The rest of the team is not in no mood to continue the game and went off the field. Yeah, answer B, was not in any mood. This is a double negative. Not in no mood. Double negative. That's bad. 14. Too much students enter the competition. Only one of them was good enough to reach the quarterfinals. All right. 14. Much should be many. Do you know why? Because students is a countable noun. Countable nouns require many, while uncountable nouns require much. Yeah. So too much students. Can we count students? Yes, we can. We can count students easily. One student, two students, three students. Countable. Can we count time? No, we cannot count time. We can't say one time, two time. So we would say much time. How much time do you need? Can we count minutes? Yes, we can. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So we can't say how much minutes do you need? How many minutes do you need? So if you can count, it's countable and we use many. If you can't count it, it's uncountable and we use much. All right, is that clear? Let's jump to 15. The biased reporter is concerned not so much with the truth of what he writes as with its credibility. Yes, we say how much sugar because we can't say one sugar, two sugar. But of course, we would say how many pounds of sugar or how many grains or how many grams. All right. Arun, you're answering number 16. We're at number 15. You're in the future. You're a time traveler. The biased reporter is concerned not so much with the truth of what he writes as with its credibility. This is another sentence structure that you either know it or you don't know it. You've either seen this type of sentence or you haven't. All right, this has no error actually. So let me see if I can break it down a little bit. So the biased reporter is concerned not so much with A as with B. So this kind of sentence structure, blah blah blah, not so much with A as with B. Right? What it means is you don't really care about A. You care more or at least as much about B instead. So I could say I care not so much about my English grade as about my math grade. What it means is I care more about math than English. So this is just a sentence structure that you have to know, right? So the biased reporter is concerned not so much with the truth of what he writes, so he doesn't care. He doesn't care whether or not it's true, as with its credibility. He just wants to know that he's getting things from a credible source. Whether it's true or not is not his concern. He just wants to know that he's getting it credibly, right? It's just a sentence structure that you need to know. That's all there is to that. And these sentence structures that sound weird to you, it's really, the problem is just that you've never encountered it while reading. You have to read a lot to see these sentence types. So what you should do is screenshot this, Google it, and see many examples until the idea of the sentence structure is cemented in your mind. That's how you do it. That was May 2012. Now we're on to May 2013. We're looking for misspellings. Start with 16. The secretary had made up a calendar of events, but there was not enough stationery to give each member a copy. I knew I was going to see a D. I knew it. Didn't know it would have been you, Athea. Oh my gosh, Dingling too. Even Ate. Oh my goodness. CSEC now is saying D. No error. Oh boy. How do you guys spell calendar? The word calendar only has one E. It should be A. Calendar. Yeah. For the spelling ones are a little tricky because sometimes your mind your mind just autocorrects something that looks wrong. You see a misspelled word and your mind just corrects it, autocorrect. But in the exam, ensure that you turn off the autocorrect when you're checking spelling for errors. Yeah. And everything else is good here. Secretary is fine. Stationery is fine. We know the rule about E and whatnot. All right, 17. After embarrassing his colleague, his conscience bothered him and he eventually apologized. After embarrassing his colleague, his conscience bothered him and he eventually apologized. All right, this one seems easy. Conscience, an easy way to remember the spelling. Con science. Yeah, the word con and the word science gives you conscience. All right, there we go. 18. After the incident, the boys traveled a different route back to school. Yeah, C. Different. Jumping up to 19. His intelligence, rather than his height, was the deciding factor when considering him for the job. All right, I'm seeing the B's. Height. And this is why I have no respect for all of these spelling rules you come up with. I before E except after C. Just forget about that nonsense. English just does whatever it wants to. You just have to memorize spellings. That's it. All right, so that's how height is spelled. Everything else is fine here. 20. The receipt of his letter assured me that such an occurrence would not be experienced. Answer B. Occurrence has two R's. Yeah, occurrence has two R's. And it's a little. The tricky thing about occurrence is that the word occur only has one R. Right? Occur has one R. So that's what makes this a little bit tricky. Yeah, occurrence is misspelled. All right, that's it for that. I hope you're getting at least 4 out of 5 for each section we go through. At least 4 out of 5. Right. Moving down to what paper is this? January of 2014. Now we're looking for these 3 types of errors. And by the way, when you hit an error recognition section, be sure to properly and carefully read the instructions because the A, B, C, D, they switch these up from time to time. Sometimes D is for no error, sometimes A is for no error. So ensure that you are checking what A is for, what B is for, and so on. So in this case, A is for no error, B for cliche or misused metaphor, C for incorrect grammar or diction, D for redundancy or repetition. So 16. If I were the captain of the West Indian team, I will. We've seen this. Yeah, it's a piece of wickedness. So you can't really just memorize what each letter does. Because I think most times D is for no error, but so this time it's A, right? So 16, I'm looking at your answers for 16. This is kind of a repeat question. Incorrect grammar. Will should be would. If I were, I would. And 17, he was very old and feeble and eventually kicked the bucket at age 80. So 17 is one of the gray area questions, I would say, but B. Cliche. Yeah, the sentence is not technically wrong in terms of grammar, and the metaphor is not misused. But I think we can easily consider this a cliche, a metaphor that has been used too often. So remember, we're looking for cliches as well, not just misused metaphors. Cliche. Yeah. Do you guys know what a cliche is? A cliche is an overused sentence or metaphor or statement or whatever. I don't think CSEC should be including cliches in error recognitions. Because what is a cliche to one person isn't a cliche to another. So it's a little bit blurry. 18. She was a nimble footed dancer. Her graceful body executed delicate movements with incredible poise. We've seen this question before. We've already ascertained that there's no problem. 18. They very seldom visit their grandparents in the country, going only once in a while. Answer D. Because if they very seldom visit their grandmother, there's no need to say going only once in a while. That is the very definition of seldom. 20. The politician hammered the nail of his argument into the leafy minds of his audience. I'm tired of reading that question. B for misused metaphor. Hammered the nail of his argument and also leafy minds of his audience misused. Especially this one. Let's jump over to May 20. Oh, still May 2014. Oh, May 2014. That was Jan 2014. No, we're at May 2014. And we're only looking at questions that are new, which means we get to skip over 11. Still looking for the same types of, we're looking for any error here. One of the admirable characteristics of the young is that they're not easily scared. We've seen the sentence many, many times. No problems here. Peter no has influenza. Peter is singular. The auxiliary verb should be singular as well. So that's an error. The rest of the team was not in any mood. Get rid of the double negative. B. Too much students. Students is a countable noun. We can count the number of students. So much should be many. Okay, finally, we have a new question. Let's look at 15. The exhibition is expected to be a major attraction, not only to adults, but particular to school children in that area. That's right, Ariel. C should be particularly, but particularly to children in that area. All right, let's move along. Still May 2014. A, if the sentence is redundant. B for cliche and misused metaphors. C for bad grammar or diction. D if there is no error. 16. He advanced a step or two to meet his attacker, who suddenly became alarmed and retreated back 4 or 5 paces. 16. I'm seeing the A's. Very good. Very, very repetitive sentence. Quite redundant. And the most obvious redundancy here is retreated back. 17. The Chernobyl accident gave a grim but timely reminder to our shrinking world that no nation can hope to isolate itself from the horrendous effects of a major nuclear disaster. Number 17. 17, I'm seeing, wow, I'm seeing D, B, and C for 17. What's happening? Are we having a fight? Are we fighting now? Yeah, Ariel is right on the money. The sentence is long, but there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing is wrong with a long sentence. It's a perfect sentence. Perfect sentence. No problems here. Yes, it's a grim but timely reminder. Grim and timely, they do not have the same meaning. There's no repetition. It's a grim reminder. Do you know what the Chernobyl incident is or was? You guys don't even know that. The Chernobyl incident. this nuclear incident that happened some decades ago. It's like the most serious nuclear disaster in modern history, or in history in general, right? So yeah, the nuclear reactor meltdown. So this accident gave a grim. What does grim mean here? Grim means sobering, serious. This means it's the kind of warning that you will have to sit down, take some deep breaths, and really reconsider your life. That's a grim reminder. So it's a grim reminder, but guess what? It's also timely. So even though it is grim, it's a reminder that we need to have right now. Right? We're entering this nuclear age, and every country wants to have their own nuclear system set up. And some countries might just believe that they're able to shield and isolate themselves from nuclear disasters. So the Chernobyl incident is a grim, but it's also a time reminder to our shrinking world. The world is shrinking, not in a literal sense, but in the sense that we're becoming more technologically advanced, and we're more able to traverse, communicate, trade. So the world, in that sense, is becoming more interconnected, more globalized. So look at the sentence. The sentence actually flows well. It's long, but every piece of the sentence is meaningful and necessary. The Chernobyl incident gave a grim but timely reminder to our shrinking world that no nation can hope to isolate itself from the horrendous effects of a major nuclear disaster. Perfect sentence. Yeah. All right, 18. The politician, oh boy. Same thing again. B. Right? Misused metaphor. 19. Seldom do people declare that they are not products of their environment. I think this is a repeat question. We've seen this before. 18 is one of your favorite sentences. Atheist, it's one of CSEC's favorite sentences for sure. 19, no problems here. 20, disgusted with the situation, he decided to jump in the saddle and put his foot down. Yeah, 20B, jump in the saddle. I'm not sure if that is a metaphor at all. And even if it is, I'm pretty sure it's not used correctly. And we could say put his foot down might be cliche as well. But we definitely have a weird metaphor here. Someone is saying something about seldomly. Could you argue that it could be seldomly? There's no seldomly. Seldom is the adverb. Most adverbs end with ly, but seldom is the adverb. Right? Ariel. So there's no seldomly. Right? There's no seldomly. At least not in modern English. It's just seldom. All right, bam, let's move on. June 2015. We're looking for the errors here. 16. We could reach the survivors neither by boat or by plane, and so we abandoned our search as futile. Neither nor. Either or, neither nor. Either or, neither nor. 17. I formed the brilliant idea of climbing the fence and to hang from the top of the rail until the bull went away. Yeah, I formed the brilliant idea of climbing the fence and hanging. Climbing and hanging. 18. She was not feeling well at the beginning of the journey, and sitting at the front of the car made her feel worse. 18D, no error. No error. 19 and 18 is a repeat question as well. 19. The better of the two athletes claimed never to have used the dangerous drugs found in his possession. The better of the two athletes claims what is the subject of the sentence? Only one athlete, the better of the two. This is a singular subject. Singular subject. So we need a singular verb. As the teacher continued his lesson, John began to lose all interest, imagining himself laying on his bed relaxing. 20. I'm seeing some C's and I'm seeing an A. For the person saying A, would you prefer to see the word loose? Loose would be completely wrong. Imagining himself lying. Lying. This one is tricky because we incorrectly use lie and lay all the time. It's an error we love to make. But just to keep it brief and simple in the context of this question, and if you have a confusion between lay and lie, Google it after this. But for now, what I would like to say on this is John is not a chicken, and so he would not be imagining himself laying anything, right? He's not a chicken. So a chicken would probably imagine themselves laying eggs. But he's a human who might imagine himself lying. Lie, lie here. Of course, lie can mean to not tell the truth, but it can also mean to rest one's self on a comfortable surface, like a bed. The past tense of lie is lay. So today I will lie on the bed. Yesterday I lay on the bed. Right? Now if you go into chicken world, the present tense is lay. So this is an egg. Past tense in the chicken world would be laid. Right? So this is chicken business right here. Chicken business, lay and laid. So laying would be this one. Right? Continuous lying, continuous laying. All right. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a chicken, but it's definitely not a human, right? Many other creatures can lay eggs. All right. Just consult Mr. Google for further clarification, because we need to move on and finish up with air recognition. Jumping to May 2016. There's hardly a point to our knocking as no one is at home. Seen that question before. Double negative. Had they not been forewarned, ooh, man, this is a nice juicy question. Number 7. Had they not been forewarned, they might have joined the queue, not knowing that gas was not on sale at the station. 7. Ooh, I'm impressed. I thought I would be seeing some weird answers for 7. No error here. It's a long and it's a weird and awkward sentence, but it's not an incorrect sentence. I wouldn't construct a sentence like this because it sounds a little bit twisty, but it's actually not wrong. Yeah, not everything that sounds weird is wrong. We see a lot of negatives, but each negative is necessary, or is contributing to the meaning of the sentence. All right, 8. The problem with the students is that they arrive late, gives no excuse, and are rude when spoken to. All right, let's take a look at the subjects and verbs. The problem with the students, what is this is referring to? Is referring to the students? No. Is referring to the problem. So that's fine. What about gives? What is gives referring to? Gives is referring to they or the students, which is plural. So they give, not gives, give. Moving on, number 9. June prefers to lie in bed, not wanting to go to school nor does any work. June prefers to lie in bed, not wanting to go to school, nor do any work. Yeah. June prefers not to do any work. It wouldn't be doing because then this would have to be lying. We'd have to say June prefers lying. So prefers to do and prefers to lie. And then we have nor do. All right, number 10. The biased reporter is concerned not so much. Okay, we've seen this before. We've seen that before. Right? A for redundancy, B for cliche or misused metaphor, C for incorrect grammar or diction, D for no error. 16. Again, for those latecomers, I'm skipping over or blazing through the questions that we've seen many times. 16 is A, too wordy. We've seen this many times. Yeah, retreated back is just one of the problems here. 17 is a tricky one. 17 is a tricky one. Traffic bottlenecks must be ironed out if we are to prevent giant traffic congestion. Traffic bottlenecks must be ironed out. What's wrong with ironed out? Absolutely nothing. To iron something out means to solve a problem. So, traffic can be ironed, Shako, because it's not literal ironing. This is just a metaphor, a correctly used metaphor that means to solve a problem, right? So, traffic bottlenecks must be dealt with or ironed out. So, no problem with ironed out if we are to prevent giant traffic congestion. Now, I wouldn't say ironed out is a cliche and it's not a misused metaphor. So, I would have to stick with A because of the unnecessary repetition of the word traffic. It's not necessary. Traffic bottlenecks must be ironed out if we are to prevent congestion. That's it. Or prevent major congestion. That's it. We've already established that we're talking about traffic bottlenecks, so there's really no need to reiterate that down at the end of the sentence. It's one of the trickier ones. One of the trickier ones. All right, we know that B18 is B. We've seen this many, many, many times. We know that this is D. We've seen this many times. 20. What about 20? So the what am I seeing for 20? What are your answers? I'm seeing D, 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 D. Nice. The modern approach to fitness is to adopt a holistic approach, physical, mental, and emotional. Yeah, approach here, unlike traffic here, even though it's repeated, it's not necessarily redundant. Not every repetition is a redundancy. Right? So if a word is repeated and it doesn't sound like it's repeated unnecessarily, then it's fine. Yeah. We're talking about an approach to fitness here, and then we're mentioning what the holistic approach, which is mental, physical, mental, emotional. So this one isn't really redundant. All right. What are we looking at now? January 2017. Same instructions. 11. There are many who have not considered the need to abstain from alcohol, but abandoning drink for sobriety is truly the only option for one who wishes to engage in healthy lifestyle practices. A. A. A is acceptable as stands. The sentence has no problem. C. I'm seeing A, C, and D. Abandoning drinking. Drinking is the habit that should be abandoned. Guys, wake up. Are you sleeping already? It's only been 1 hour and 16 minutes. Abandoning drinking. What is the opposite of sobriety in this case? Drinking. So even if you think it's repetitive, if there's a grammatical or diction mistake, that takes the win. Always. That takes the cake. Yeah. Yeah, abandoning drink is strange. Drinking is what we should abandon, not drink. What do you mean abandon drink? That sounds weird. So that would be what? C. Yeah, MJ, you are autocorrecting. Don't autocorrect. This is error recognition. Don't autocorrect. All right, 12. He wanted to beg for his old job, but that ship had sailed, and he had to simply play the hand that was dealt him. This year, it's a correctly used metaphor, but we could call it a cliche. Anyway, it gets worse, and he had to simply play the hand that was dealt him. So we have two metaphors that seem to be cliches. That's a problem. And this metaphor is kind of misused because playing the hand that was dealt you, it means you were given a certain situation and you didn't have anything to do with it. You didn't get to choose. But seeing that he had lost his job, either he got fired or he quit. So this wouldn't have been a situation that he had no part in. So two cliches and one kind of misused metaphor. So we'd have to go with B for those reasons. To attract more business, the store offered transportation at no expense to the customer. We're at 13. Oh, Renata, thank you so much. Yes, people, like the video. The more you like the video, the more the notifications get sent out. So people like Jamie can get the notification on time. Oh man. All right, 13. I'm seeing A's and I'm seeing D's. Why am I seeing D's for 13? There's no problem here. To attract more business, that's fine. The store offered transportation at no expense to the customer. Perfectly fine. No problems. No problems. No problems. 14. If I were the captain of the West Indies cricket team, we've seen this question many times, so we'll skip over it. If I were, I would. So we have incorrect grammar. All right, 15. From the examination results, it was quite clear that Joanne's work was not up to the mark, and so she missed the boat. 15. This sentence is clearly trying too hard with the metaphors. Yeah, whenever you see too many metaphors in a sentence, it's likely going to be misused metaphor or cliche. Not up to the mark is kind of okay. The miss the boat is cliche for one, and as well, it's not perfectly used because to miss the boat is to like miss a chance or an opportunity, which I mean, you could say it's used in an okay way, but even if it's used in an okay way, we can't ignore the fact that we have two metaphors here that could be considered cliches. Yeah. And I wouldn't use missed the boat in this sentence at all. I wouldn't choose that metaphor. Yeah, the sentence is doing too much. All right. Let's run along. January 2017. Looking for an error. Looking for an error. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Overcome by fear, I ran past my home without realizing I had done, sir. I had done. I'm saying sir because I'm reading the comments. Without realizing I had done so. 16, I'm seeing some A's and I'm seeing some D's. I ran past. PASSED is the past tense of PASS, whereas PAST is indicating where you ran. You ran past something or somewhere. All right, 17. This is a repeat question, so we're going to skip over it. Going to skip over it. In a house for Mr. Biswas, Nepal shows the that here is unnecessary. Yeah, we've seen that question before. All right, 18. I believe that his attitude improves his general performance. I believe that if his attitude improves, his general performance will also improve. Now, if we had gotten this question in the section that asked us to look for stuff like redundancy, I would say the sentence is a little bit redundant. However, we're just looking for a particular word that is wrong, and no word is wrong here. No word is wrong here. So it's a good sentence. I believe that his attitude improves his general. I believe that if his attitude improves, his general performance will also improve. No error. All right. 19. Pray good deeds and living well with one's name. Man, I can't even read this sentence. That is how wrong it is. Prior. I got confused just trying to read it a while ago. Prior, good deeds and living well with one's neighbors are essential to spiritual health. Right? 20. The athletes with the worst performances claim to have used never. Oh, am I sleepy? The athletes with the worst performances claim never to have used the dangerous drugs found on their possession. 20. Should be found in their possession. Incorrect preposition, as Mulinish says. Found in their possession. All right. Now we're on to May 2017, and we're looking for errors. I'll be skipping over the questions that we've seen 100 times before. We could reach the survivors neither by boat nor by plane. We know it, neither nor. I formed the brilliant idea of climbing the fence and hanging from the top of the rail. We've seen that before. She was not feeling well at the beginning of the journey, and sitting at the front of the car made her feel worse. We've seen this before. There's no error here. Okay, number 19 is a new one. So let's attempt 19. My ambition is to have a good job and to further my studies at one of the more prestigious universities. Oh, yeah, no problem, Jamie. This is what I love to do. Yeah. 19. Oh boy, the seas are coming, aren't they? I knew it. I knew it. I knew I would see the seas for 19. Here we go. Here we go with the seas. Here we go with the seas. More should be most. Why can't it be more? You guys need to read more. Why can't it be more? One of the more prestigious universities is just as good. So let me explain this just a little bit. One of the more, right? One of the more prestigious universities. What this means is maybe this university is going to be in the top 20, right? One of the most prestigious universities, maybe that's going to be in the top 5. So this the difference between more and most here is that most is less inclusive and more exclusive. So one of the more prestigious means one of the universities that's that are kind of okay on the more prestigious end. But one of the most prestigious, we're talking about UA and UTech. That's it, right? So that is the difference. And we can use this in lots of different examples. For example, I might say he is one of the better students of English. It doesn't mean he's like at the top of the school. He's just above average. But if I say that he's one of the best students of English, it means he's way up there. He's excellent. Sir, sell me your diploma. Oh boy. 20. Bless you to the person who sneezed. Oh my goodness. Now tell you, one of my students says bless you. That's how loud your sneeze was. It was heard all across the world. 20. The better of the two athletes claim never to have used the dangerous drugs found in his possession. We've also seen this one before, haven't we? The better of the athletes, this is a singular verb because it's only one athlete. Singular. So this claim should be claims. B. All right. Okay, 2018. We're moving. Looking for errors. Considering the chaos you would cause if you were to resign. No, I have no choice. We've seen this before, so I'm going to skip it. No choice but to refuse your request. All right, we've seen that before. 17. You may notice that the windows of the house next to the playground looks like those of ancient English cottages. We've also seen this one before. The subject of the sentence is the windows. So this should be look. Right? We've seen that before. And 18, there's hardly a point on knocking as no one is not necessary. We've seen that before. Okay, 19 is a new one. Let's do 19. Tom, the most talented of the musicians who need help, has promised to give his services free of charge for any worthwhile cause. 19. D. No error. Let's analyze the sentence a little bit. Some persons are saying, eh? Eh? Yeah, so I guess some of you are confused about the subjects and the verbs. Let's look at the subjects and verbs in 19. What is need referring to? What is need referring to? Need is referring to those musicians. Tom, the most talented of, and then we have this set. Those musicians who need help. That's fine. Has, what is has referring to? Has is referring to Tom. Tom is the one who was promised. So that's also perfectly fine. Promised to give his services free of charge. All right. So Tom has promised the musicians who need help. No problems with agreement here. Tom has promised those musicians who need help. When it comes to these subject verb sentences, ensure that you're able to match the subject to their verb. Ensure you're able to match what each subject is related to in terms of a verb, what each verb is related to in terms of a subject. All right. Who is the one who has promised? Tom. Who are the ones who need help? Not Tom, those musicians. All right, 20. We've seen 20 before. Any disease is. We've seen 20 before. Any disease is. Make sure you're really matching up the subjects and the verbs. Singular needs singular. All right, bam. Still on the 2018 paper. Here we're onto this section that nobody really likes. A for redundancy and uh, wordiness. B for cliche or misused metaphor. C for incorrect grammar or diction. D for no error. 21 is repeated, right? Remember, there's no problem here. 22 is also repeated. Yeah, actually, I might be more comfortable with the grammatical problem. All right, 23. Rising from the throne, the crowd cheered their noble monarch as he walked solemnly forward to greet the foreign dignitaries. 23 is very messy. 23, grammar. Grammar is bad here. Rising from the throne. Who is rising from the throne? This one tripped me up when I looked at the 2018 paper back then. I had to make a correction because the sentence looked so redundant. And there might be some redundancies, but grammar is king. Rising from the throne, the crowd cheered their noble monarch. This sounds like the crowd is rising from the throne, right? So we can call this a misplaced modifier. Rising from the throne, the crowd cheered. That doesn't make any sense because the crowd isn't the one rising from the throne, right? It should have said the crowd cheered their noble monarch who was rising from the throne or something like that. So the sentence kind of gives us a wrong implication. So we'd have to make C our answer, which is grammar. All right. 24. The moon shone brightly in the clear night sky. Its cool light a blessing after the searing heat of day. Misused metaphor for 24? Where's the misused metaphor? I mean, this seems quite fine. Seems quite fine. D. The moon shone brightly in the clear night sky. That's fine. Its cool light. That's fine. A blessing after the searing heat of day. It's just it's just past tense. Nothing is wrong with shone. Cool light. That's just, it could be figurative language, or it could be that the light is cool in terms of the hue. We have warm light and cool light. That's also fine. Light that is on the bluer end is considered cool. Light that is on the orange end is considered warm. All right, 25. When the clerk raised his voice in protest, his boss asked him to hold his tongue since empty vessels made the most noise and are often thrown in the den to be eaten by the lions. Oh man, this sentence is trying way too hard. We have cliches and misused metaphors. Empty vessels make the most noise. This doesn't really come in very relevant here. And to hold one's tongue, we could call it a cliche. But the most glaring issue is this part. Completely nonsense metaphor right there. Right? It's B. B for misused metaphors. Number 6, we've seen this before, but let's see if we remember it. All right, 6, conscience, conscience. That's how we spell conscience. All right, number 7, it's my privilege to give you some information concerning proper nutrition. Any issues with number 7? Number 7, privilege is spelled correctly. Information is good, good. No error. All right. 8, whenever there's a food crisis, the people always experience shortages of basic necessities. Right? Crisis is singular, so we need crisis. Here, crises with the E is plural, so it's wrong. Yeah. Number nine, the nurses were allotted separate quarters because the main building did not have enough rooms for them. Number nine, D, really? Separate. Separate. So B. Number 10, his intelligence rather than his height. Okay, this is too easy. Height. All right. Bada bam, bada boom. 11 through 15. Back to these annoying instructions. A for no error. B for the cliche or misused metaphor. C for the incorrect grammar or diction. D for redundancy. Number 11. What do you have for 11? Affect should be effect. Positive effect. So faulty diction. C. 12. Seldom do people declare that they are not products of their environment. We've seen this many, many times before. No error. 13. The major ran up the street like a house on fire and, shouting with all the strength he could muster, sounded the alarm. B. Yes, I misused metaphor. Like a house on fire is actually a weird metaphor because it doesn't sound like what it means. Like a house on fire means excellently. I know it sounds weird. You wouldn't imagine. You would imagine speed or enthusiasm. So I could say we ran through 500 questions like a house on fire. Just Google it if you don't believe me. It means excellently, perfectly. 14. If I were the captain, I would. We've seen this at least 15 times. If I were, I would. So that's grammar. Yeah. He advanced a step or two to meet his attacker, who became suddenly alarmed and retreated back. We've seen all of these redundancies in previous papers. The exhibition is expected to be a major attraction, not only for adults but particular to school children in that area. Quick sort, you have a 1994 paper. Wow, that's amazing. The oldest paper I have is from 2000. So I'm taking you guys from 2000 up. Not only for adults, but particularly. Particularly. All right, 17. We've seen this already. Seen that one already. We've also seen 18 already. No error. Right? So I'm running through the sentences we've seen many times before. Peter has Peter has too many students. Yeah, we've seen all of these. We've seen all of these before. May 2019. Let's find the errors. Yeah, I think we're seeing many repeat questions again, so I'm just gonna highlight the answers and move on. Neither by boat nor by plane. Neither nor. I believe his attitude. Yep, we've seen this one before. No error there. She was not feeling well at the beginning of the journey, and sitting at the front of the car made her feel worse. Perfectly fine. Overcome by fear, I ran past my home. Yeah, so many repeated questions. The better of the two athletes claims, yeah, singular subject, singular verb. So an entire section of repeat questions. Yeah. 16. She's one of the thousands of babies who are diagnosed with that disease. 16. No error. No error. Yeah. She's one of the thousands of babies who are diagnosed with that disease. That's fine. 17. The secretary. Oh, we're looking for misspellings, by the way. Here, misspellings. The secretary had made up a calendar of events, but there was not enough stationery to give each member a copy. 17. Calendar only has one L. Calendar has one L, right? It's getting late, so I have to double check everything now. Yeah, calendar has one L. And this stationery is correct. This E is correct here, based on the meaning of stationery here. When the museum purchased his paintings, the artist received many compliments. All right, these compliments should be I, not E, I. Yeah, compliments with the E is talking about how well one thing matches something else. Compliments with the I is you are looking beautiful today. Or some people say that that's not a compliment because are you trying to say I look ugly every other day? Right. All right, 19. After embarrassing his colleague, his conscience bothered him and he eventually apologized. 19. No error. And this is why you can't just memorize answers because on many papers before, they spelled conscience incorrectly. But this time it's fine. 20. It is my privilege to give you some advice concerning proper nutrition. Advice. C for the noun, S for the verb. January 2021. Wow. Look at that. They changed one word. Look at number 20 here. And look at number 6 here. So we're looking at misspellings again. It is my pleasure to give you some information concerning proper nutrition. 6, no error. Nothing is misspelled here. 7, the nurses were given separate quarters because the main building did not have enough rooms for them. 7, they keep spelling separate wrong. What's wrong with them? 8, the arguments put forward by the irate parent merely helped to further aggravate the situation. You've seen this before. Aggravate has two G's. 9, the opinion that men are superior to women is a fallacy which men themselves perpetuate. 9, no error. 10, his intelligence rather than his. We've seen this too many times. Height. Right. January 2021. Same paper, different section. Looking for errors again. 16. Mary, will you please fill up the buckets before the water supply is cut off? We saw this question many papers ago. Will you please fill up the buckets? Yeah. 17. Julie prefers to lie in bed, not wanting to go to school nor does any work. Does should be do. 18. He shared the sweets among you and me. They keep saying this. Between. Yeah. 19. Peter have dengue. They keep, man, poor Peter. Every few years, he contracts dengue, right? Has too many students. All right. Lots of repeat questions. All right, here we are, May 2021. We know the works. We know the works. We know the works. Just gonna run through the repeat questions here. He advanced a step or two to meet his attacker, blah blah blah. We already know this is too wordy. All right, redundancy. Number 7, it's not absolutely necessary for it to be done today. That's a new one. Number 7. All right, the answer is C, grammatical error. We need an apostrophe here. We need an apostrophe. It's. Because what we want to say is it is. Okay? There we go. It's equals it is. Grammatical error. All right, number 8. She had adequate time to prepare for the interview. Any problems here? Yeah, perfectly fine. We've seen number 9 before, so we can just run through it. C, incorrect diction. This should be effect, positive effect. And D, sitting alone in his room by himself, he repeated her name over and over again. So many redundancies. Oh man, we're not done yet. We're almost there. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. We're almost there. We're just gonna skip over the repeated ones. We could reach the survivors neither by boat nor by plane. Considering the chaos it would cause if you were to resign, I have no choice but to refuse your request. Tom, the most talented of the musicians who need help, has promised to give his services free of charge for any worthwhile cause. No error. After embarrassing his colleague, his conscience bothered him and he eventually apologized. No error. Oh, sorry. Conscience is spelled incorrectly. Oh man. CSEC wicked. Look at that. This is not a spelling section, you know. This is not a spelling section. But a word is misspelled. Very tricky, CSEC. Very, very tricky. Very, very tricky. Oh man. Very, very tricky. So imagine you're in this section looking for grammar and vocabulary stuff. They didn't even say spelling. Inappropriate grammar, idioms, or vocabulary. And then bam, you get hit with a misspelling. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Be careful, guys. Be careful. In Japan, we would say kyotskete. Yabai desu ne. Zukashiyo. All right, 20. The better of the two athletes claims one singular subject, so singular verb. Oh yeah. All right. January 2022. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Running through, running through. I'm just gonna solve the ones that we have seen before. Overcome with happiness. I ran past my home without recognizing I had done so. Uh, I ran past my home. Yeah, that's fine. No error. If Antonio's attitude changes, there will be a vast improvement in his performance. Okay, number 12 is a new one. All right. If Antonio's attitude changes, there, this there is wrong. There will be a vast improvement. Yeah, man, I know some Japanese. Nowhere near fluent, but I know some Japanese. All right. One of the admirable characteristics of the young is that they're not easily scared. Any problems with 13? I think we've seen this question before. No problem. Since too many passengers, we haven't seen this specific one, but we've seen a very similar one with students. Passengers are countable, so we need many instead of much. As John listened to the lesson being taught, he began to lose interest. Not lose interest, lose interest. Sir, what you do in Japan? I teach English here in Japan. I teach in a private high school. We're almost at the end, guys. This is May June 2022. So the last couple of questions for this section. Oh my gosh, CSEC, CSEC, CSEC. Same questions again. Same questions again. He advanced a step or two. Guys, I'm gonna run through these, all right? Because you've seen these before. It's so that's bad grammar. No error. Effect. So that's bad diction. That should be C. A. All right, we're cool. Cool with this. Cool with this. Can we move on? Yeah, yeah. You've seen these before. Final page. And I'm just gonna answer these because we've seen them before. Seen these before. Misspelling with conscience and then claims.